Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Hope everybody is having the best of mornings. I'm having a fairly good morning, I would say. I venture to say it. Yeah. It's been a pretty good week. It's been a good life. It's lots of good things, really. So just a quick heads up, we're going to do things kind of differently today. We'll do Thoughts on 30 in like 2 minutes. Although this gives me a nice opportunity to warm up, kind of. I'm not going to warm up that. I don't usually warm up, so it's not that big of a deal. But who knows, maybe the jams will be extra spicy today if I do warm up a little bit. Got to tune up before I can warm up, though. But yeah, it's been a good week. I saw the band Lettuce last night. That is a real band. In case you're like, Lettuce? That's a band? Yes, it is a band. And they're a good band. They played at Red Rocks. It's a killer show. It's like groove funk, kind of. That's kind of the genre I would put it in. But it's really like progressive jazz funk. I mean, groove music I generally kind of associate with progressive music. This doesn't sound right to me. But yeah, I generally associate groove kind of music with progressive music. I would call Phish a progressive band. Although it kind of has a genre of its own, you know, it's jam bands, you know. It's not any of this other stuff. But yeah. Cool. Alright, we're gonna do the other segment of this little shindig. Yeah. Oh man. It's been so hot here recently. I can't even begin to tell you how hot it has been here. But yeah, I hope everybody's been pretty good. Yeah. Oh. Bloop. Cool. So yeah. So today's thanks, Steph. So today's topic, vaguely, for thoughts on 30, the things that I will give you thoughts about on the 30 of the hour. I forget. It was like how to release energy and kind of. I guess kind of to back up from that, one thing that people often don't even realize is they build up all these energies inside of them and like hold on to things. And so it creates this huge subconscious storm kind of thing. You know, if you're holding on to a lot of past pain, it manifests somehow. It either affects you or affects other people. And so I guess the point of that to go on is you need to kind of figure out ways to release the energy. And so kind of the vague topic for today is like, how do you do that? And so much of this is opinion. So, but anyway, in my personal experience, I've kind of noted certain things. So actually, one book I read put it very well. It's like, say you're feeling really terrible. You know, like maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with you, and you're just kind of in a rut. And then say, you feel awful and it feels very real and immediate and stuff. But say then they text you like, hey, I'm so sorry, like whatever, I still love you, blah, blah, blah. All the energy just comes flying back, you would find. And I haven't really experienced this because most of my relationships, once they end, kind of end. But anyway, to continue with the example. So all the energy kind of comes flying back to you. And it makes you realize, like, you were holding on to something inside of you that was kind of resisting whatever was going on. And so once you no longer have that resistance, the energy is always there and just overpowering, fills you with energy. When this could literally happen in like less than a second too. It's pretty insane how the mind works. But yeah, so that's kind of another example of this energy. So the point is, there's kind of infinite energy always available, and how do you tap into it? And I guess the way to do that is non-resistance to whatever is in the present moment. And this is a huge part of mindfulness practice. Because the present moment is the source of the energy. It's the resistance to the present moment that takes it away. So, man, my thoughts are so scattered. Gosh. But yeah. So how do you do this? How do you practice it? In my experience, there's kind of two different ways. I think of something like meditation. And meditation is a good practice for just allowing whatever is and sitting with it, not resisting it, allowing it to flow through. And I've found it to be incredibly helpful in that regard. And this is kind of why it's important to make it like a habit, a daily practice, a routine, because once you have a daily meditation practice, you kind of designate that space in your time, in your day, in your life to be open. Specifically, like the intention is to be open, and you've routinized the act of being open. And that's super important. My meditation teacher, or one of my meditation teachers, said that meditation is like washing the brain. You should wash your clothes every, 1 week, 2 weeks, however long. But you should wash the mind. You should do it pretty often. I do it twice a day. I meditate more than most people, but still. I find it's helpful though. You pick up things during the day, and then you kind of clean them off at night, and then you just move on, and you're kind of free to the next day. I just meditated before this. I feel great. You pick up things in the night, even when you're asleep, and you gotta wash those out too. So that's kind of how I see that. So that's one example of how to kind of non-resist. non-resistance and let the energy flow through. The other way that I find most common in my own life is through something like music. Going to see shows and like just dancing my butt off is like so liberating to me. And the reason is, I think there's kind of the outside energy that you kind of grab onto, and it kind of pulls energies out of you by just grooving, you know? You just groove with it and stuff kind of flies out of you. You don't need to worry about what is coming out of you because you're in the groove, you know, you're in the moment in the show. And so that, I think that's important. You know, the interesting distinction there is like meditation is kind of the lack of external sources and allowing the internal to just emerge by itself, whereas something like live music or really any hobby, I think, is kind of like this. Just the act of doing something externally and being in the process of doing an action externally is what kind of pulls things out from the internal side. And that's what causes things to emerge. So I don't know if this comes as a surprise or not, but some of the best moments of my whole life are just from like dancing at concerts, you know. And, you know, I'm there with the music at every moment. I'm always paying attention and whatnot. And if the music lifts you to such a point, which it can do, you know, music, I think, is the most real, most powerful thing that exists. You can just feel this total weightlessness. I felt it like 4 times in my entire life. Just pure weightlessness. You just float through the ceiling, you know. You just climb right out. There's not an ounce of pain in my entire body, you know. And you feel the entire body deeply. But yeah, those moments, sometimes they last like 5 seconds. I think the longest one was maybe like 5 minutes. But oh my god, it's like, I think that's what it means to be high on life. To be honest, there's just no better feeling than that I've ever experienced. And so obviously music is something that does this for me. I'm a musician, and you know, I've listened to music my whole life. Music is very important to me. But you know, everyone's different. People have all sorts of different hobbies, and this is kind of, I think, what makes people enjoy things. You know, the ability to connect with something outside themselves that brings them fully here, that brings them fully present and okay with whatever is present. You know, oftentimes the way I see emotions is kind of whatever has inhabited in, you know, the mind, the body, in this moment. And kind of going back to mindfulness practice, mindfulness is just about recognizing what's here. You know, it's not about reacting to it. It's not saying this is good, this is bad. It's just recognizing, you know, happiness is here. Oh, cool. Sadness is here. Oh, cool. You know, fear is here. Oh, gosh. But, yeah. And so in the process of not reacting to all these things, you become okay with all of them. You know, you learn kind of the way that your own body responds to all these things, which is unique. You know, it's your life, it's you, it's special inherently. So it's kind of a self-exploration as well in that regard. But yeah, so, you know, I've talked to some of my friends about, one of my friends is really, really into rock climbing. And so I think it's, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, he actually sees it as a mindfulness practice. Because when he's there on the rock wall, you know, doing his thing, climbing, anything can come up and he's focused, he's alert, he's attentive, he's feeling it. You know, it's, you know, true happiness and compassion and like contentness is exactly that. It's contentness, but also awareness. It's not ignorance. You know, it's very much the opposite of ignorance. It's being aware that all things pass, all things rise, all things fall, and you just kind of watch them, and you observe this process over and over again, and look, this too passes, everything passes. It's, you know, eventually you can just give up your ego. That passes too. You know, you'll die one day, but if you do give up your ego, you kind of become everything, which is kind of cool, and then that doesn't pass. So that's pretty cool, you know? All the infinite universes and living and unliving and seen and unseen, it's actually all available within you if you completely non-resist. You know, this is kind of how I see a completely pure mind. A non-resistance to absolutely everything can produce a state of connectedness to literally everything. everything. And, I haven't reached that state by any means, but I think that's the goal of spiritual practice, to be honest. That's what enlightenment is, if you will. And it's a transcension of the body into something beyond. So yeah, that's why I think things are enjoyable sometimes. So go find some hobbies that, are fun, that make you, you can usually tell when something has this effect on you, I think. If you're, for example, when I watch TV, I don't have this effect. I don't feel connected. Well, certain TV shows that are really, like, I find thought-provoking and stuff, or bring certain emotions. But most TV, I don't connect with. I'm not emotionally present with it, and so I don't find it enjoyable for that reason. Whereas something like music, I'm, very focused when I play, and, like, stuff comes up, stuff goes down, etc. So find the things in your own life. Never hurts to try new things. I also do something, the sport curling with the brooms and the rocks and stuff. I couldn't tell you why I do it, but I guess I do it because I think it's fun. But, I've stuck with it for many years. I've done it for like 5 years, and like, I think it, on some level, just being focused in that way causes certain things to arise and causes you to deal with them in a certain way, and it's a positive experience. You learn constantly. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. So I'm gonna play some more music, and yeah. So if anyone has any thoughts, to drop me a line. Don't be a stranger. But yeah, let's see here. I'm gonna just turn this down a tiny bit. Cool. So so the show I went to last night, Lettuce, was like really awesome. It was so good. heads up. See, this is fun. It's so much fun. Okay, I'm going to read this more. The question was recently posed to me. What does success mean to you? Would love to hear your take on it, especially in the context of the non-resistance. Interesting. It's very interesting. Okay, here, I'm going to pause from playing for a sec to think. What does success mean to me? Well, I think one important thing that often... I think one really important thing in terms of success is that people very often equate it with external things. Like, success in life means I get X job, or, I get a nice salary, or a promotion, or whatever. And I think the problem with equating it with all these external things is that's just not how the mind works. It's like, oh man, I forget who the guy was that said it, but there's a great quote that there's two great disappointments in life. One is not getting what you want, and the other one is getting it. And I think that puts it so well, because say you get exactly what you want, these goals externally, then your mind just comes up with new stuff to want, and it's not healthy. True happiness isn't achieved externally. It's as simple as that, I think. And so success to me is kind of the internal okayness with whatever happens, and it doesn't matter if externally things are good or externally things are bad. You can always be successful if you're okay. In fact, if you are okay, you are successful because you're okay with, you're successful at being okay with things as they are. Another really interesting quote, and I'll just paraphrase this because I don't really remember how it went exactly, is that very often it's common that people want things that they don't have, and they don't want things that they do have. Just kind of, people operate in funny ways. But anyway, a good practice is to try to want the things that you already have, and to try to not want things that you don't have. I guess in a word, being successful is just being content for me. And I think it doesn't matter what job I go into or what life I have. It doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor. It doesn't matter if I'm, here or, I don't know, somewhere else. I think that's what it means to me. So yeah, that's a really good question. I hadn't really thought too much about that. But in the context of non-resistance, though, so non-resistance, I would say non-resistance is the state that allows you to reach this kind of successful contentness. If you're ever not content, it's a sign that you're resisting. If you're not okay with things as they are, you're resisting how things are as they are. And so recognizing this and learning to recognize this, which very often happens on a subconscious level, is a very important thing to practice and to do and to learn about. So in the context of non-resistance, if you want to be okay with things as they are, you can't resist things how they are. You just have to take it as it comes, a moment at a time. Because again, everything changes. It all goes up, it goes down. Emotion is inhabited, emotion moves on. If you really pay attention to emotions and you label them and you say, this thing has arisen, and you feel it in your body, you'll probably find that almost all of them last 15 seconds. Almost none last more than 30. Because they change into something else. I'm not saying that emotion goes away entirely, but if, fear rises, observe fear, observe it in your body. Within 15 seconds, it changes into something else. You know, it changes into anger maybe. It could change into pleasure. It could change into joy. And it's so interesting to just watch all this stuff and like really observe within. And I loved it. This is part of why I love meditating, because it's so interesting. You know, I sit here for like an hour at a time and I'm just watching, like, it's better than the best TV show there is. It's just, this has come up, this has come up, this has come up. Oh, what does this feel like? What does this feel like? And you get to feel it all, and it's like, it's the best. Okay, so I think that answers the question. I'm going to keep playing now. But yeah. That's not a chord I want. Thanks for a dope Saturday morning. I got you, bro. Serge, I hope you're doing awesome. I will hit you up later. Hope everyone's doing awesome this morning. Oh, P.S. Shameless plug for my buddy Serge's Spotify playlist. If you want to post a link, you totally can. He made an awesome Spotify playlist that you guys should all check out. Some really good vibes. So, shameless plug. I'm playing both major and minor key stuff, and kind of want to do something in between, but it's hard to just make it up sometimes. But actually, I just like to leave kind of an open canvas, like just leave something like this. I might have done 5 there. Song. Wait. Yeah, I don't know that. Oh wait, no, that wasn't a song, that was a band. Never mind. I know Sublime. This is gonna be fun, actually. I know what we're doing here. Yeah, I like this a lot. have to do anything. Oh man, it's a good day. I'm gonna read what all this says. Like the songs Bad Phish and Latin Pipes. Give me some endless river vibes. You bet. You bet. Oh man. I don't usually take song requests on here, and if you put a request I probably won't know how to play it. But if anyone wants to, if you guys want me to play anything in particular, holla at me. Till then I might just funk around. What does that say? Oh, great. Oh, good. I should pay less attention to what's going on around me. Oh, true. Nice. you guys have seen, but I have a really awesome tapestry in my room. Although my room's kind of messy, so I'm not going to show it to you. Maybe I'll show it to you at some point. But it's over there. It's behind you. Oh, man. I like how it's decorated in here. I used to play an interesting jam on just this weird chord. Let me see if I can find it. No, it wasn't that. Ooh, that's kind of nice. I'm gonna forget the other one. time for like maybe one more little jammeroo. I don't know. It's been fun. It's been a fun little thing. Ooh, I like that. This is actually from a song that I've been working on. Yeah, I haven't really jammed this, so we'll see how it goes. see you next week. Be well.